Have you ever run into someone familiar? You're smiling, they're smiling, and then it happens. That uncomfortable pause.
You know their face, maybe even where you met them.
But their name, it's gone. Just slipped right out of your head, like steam from a kettle. And you stand there, nodding politely, hoping they say it first. If that's ever happened to you, you're definitely not alone.
In fact, name forgetting is one of the most common things people over 60 notice about their memory.
And you know what?
That doesn't mean you're losing your sharpness.
It doesn't mean you're on a downhill slide. It just means your brain's working differently than it used to, and there are smart, simple ways to help it out. Today, we're going to talk about exactly why this happens, and more importantly, what you can do about it. Not complicated strategies, not brain training games that feel like a chore, but for easy, practical fixes you can try right away. And believe me, even tiny changes can make a huge difference. Let's start with something that might surprise you. Forgetting names isn't just a senior thing. It actually starts happening gradually to most people around their 40s or 50 seconds.
Why? Because names are what scientists call arbitrary labels. They don't tell your brain anything useful about the person. A name like John or Linda doesn't give you a clue about who they are, what they love, or how you know them.
It's just a sound attached to a face, and our brains have to work harder to store that kind of information, especially when we're juggling other things. On top of that, as we get older, we tend to be more distracted, not because we're lazy
or scattered, but because we've got more life in our heads, more memories, more routines, more thoughts buzzing around. So when we meet someone new, our brain might file their face away, but it doesn't always stick their name in the
same folder. That's why you might remember where you met someone, oh right, the church bake sale.
But draw a blank on their name. And let's not forget one more thing. Stress. When you're anxious about forgetting, your brain actually freezes up more.
You're standing there thinking, come on, I just saw this person last week.
And that very pressure makes recall harder.
It's like trying to catch a feather in a windstorm. So how do we fix it?
Let's start with the first and easiest shift, slowing down. I know that sounds almost too simple, but hear me out. When we meet someone new, or even reconnect with someone we haven't seen in a while, we often rush the interaction. Hi, nice to see you. How are you? What's new?
It's a flurry of politeness, and names get lost in the shuffle. Next time you meet someone, or even when you're watching a TV show or reading the news, try this. Pause and say the name out loud. Nice to meet you, Janet. Or, if you're
alone, repeat the name back to yourself.
So that character's name is Detective Brooks. Saying it out loud, even just once, tells your brain, hey, this bit matters. You're giving it a small mental spotlight. That leads us to the second fix. Link the name to something visual.
Now, I know what you're thinking. I'm not great with pictures either. But don't worry. This isn't about art or being clever.
It's about making little connections that your brain finds easier to store. Let's say you meet someone named Rose.
Picture her holding a rose in her hand. Or someone named Frank. You might imagine him eating a hot dog, like a Frankfurter.
These don't need to be clever. In fact, the sillier or more playful they are, the better. Your brain is wired to remember odd or colorful images much more easily than plain facts. So, instead of just hearing, this is Dave, you imagine Dave standing in a wave.
Boom, instant memory hook. And no, you're not being childish.
Yeah?
Being smart. These tricks have been used for centuries, even by memory champions. They don't mean your brain is weak. They mean you're giving it something more interesting to work with. Here's another little shift that can really help. Stop saying, I'm terrible with names. I know it can feel like a joke or just the truth, but your brain is always listening, and when you repeat that phrase, even lightly, you're reinforcing a belief that makes it harder to improve.
Instead, try saying, I'm working on remembering names better. That small change helps your mind stay open and alert. You're not writing yourself off.
You're reminding yourself that you can still grow, and you absolutely can. Now that we've talked about slowing down, saying names out loud, and using silly little mental pictures, let's explore another helpful habit that's all about repetition, but not the kind that feels boring or forced. This one's actually fun, and it works best in the little moments of your day. This one's actually fun, and it works best in the little moments of your day.
It's about weaving names into your daily conversations, not just once, but gently, a few times.
Let's say you just met someone new at your neighbor's backyard barbecue, and her name is Gloria. Instead of just hearing it once and hoping it sticks, you could say, "Nice to meet you, Gloria."
So, Gloria, do you live nearby? Then later, maybe as you're walking away, say, "It was great talking with you, Gloria. You are not overdoing it or making it weird. You're simply giving your brain more chances to hear and store the name."
Repetition is like watering a seed.
The more often you gently remind yourself, the more likely it is to grow roots and stay with you. And you can even do this when the person isn't around.
Later that evening, while brushing your teeth or settling into your favorite chair, think
Back to the event.
Say their name again, let's see. I met Gloria, who lives on Elm Street, and she has that cute little dog. You're not cramming or studying.
You're just giving your brain a second chance to file things in the right place. It's the same way we remember old songs. We hear them more than once, and eventually, we can sing them without thinking. That's what you're doing here, turning
A name into something familiar through easy, natural repetition. Another helpful thing. Get curious. When you meet someone and learn their name, take just a moment to ask something about it.
You might say, "Gloria, that's a beautiful name."
Is there a story behind it?
Or, "Is that short for something?" That tiny moment
of curiosity lights up more parts of your brain and deepens the memory. Now, let's shift gears and talk about something that makes all of this even easier, paying attention to your own stress level. Because here's the thing: when we're nervous, distracted, or just feeling a little off, our ability to store and recall names drops
fast. It's not because your memory is broken. It's because your brain is prioritizing other things. If your mind is racing, "Did I remember to turn off the stove? Where did I park the car?
Oh no, I hope I don't forget this person's name again." Then it doesn't leave much space for new details to settle in.
You can think of it like trying to write something down while someone's shaking your notebook. So, how do you fix that?
You ground yourself in the moment. Before you walk into a room full of people, or even just into church or your local coffee shop, pause for a breath.
Just one. In through your nose, out through your mouth.
Remind yourself, "I'm here. I am
calm.
I'm going to enjoy this." You don't need to be perfect.
You just need to be present. Even a short pause like that can reset your nervous system and help your brain get ready to engage. And when you meet someone new, instead of rushing to respond or worrying you won't remember, just really look at them. Notice their eyes, their voice, the way they smile.
The more present you are, the better your memory will respond.
Your brain likes attention.
It rewards you for noticing. Let me tell you a little story. A woman named Nancy wrote in to say she
used to be embarrassed all the time because she'd forget names at her bridge club. She felt like people thought she didn't care. So she started trying something new every time someone told her their name. She repeated it, visualized it, and asked a question about it.
Within a month, she said, I remembered more names than I had in 5 years, and people noticed.
Not because she was doing anything flashy, but because she was truly connecting. And that's really what this all comes down to. Connection. Names are more than just labels.
They're how we show someone they matter. When you remember someone's
name, you're saying, "You're important enough to me that I wanted to hold on to this little part of you." That's powerful. It's not about impressing people or proving something, it's about living with intention.
The more you practice that slowing down, repeating names, linking them to something visual, staying present, the more natural it becomes.
You will start noticing that names come back quicker. The embarrassment fades, and you start feeling more confident in conversations again. You don't need to memorize hundreds of names. Just start with the people around you. The woman at the
checkout line you see every week.
The couple who always sits in front of you at Sunday service. The new neighbor you waved at but haven't introduced yourself to yet. Each name you remember is like a little light you switch on. And the good news is your brain is capable of doing this.
No matter your age.
It might need a little more time or a few extra tricks, but the foundation is still strong.
In fact, studies
show that older adults can improve their memory with just a few small changes to their daily routine.
And it starts with intention. So the next time you forget a name, don't beat yourself up.
Just smile, take a breath, and think, okay, I'm
still learning. Because that's what keeps your brain young, staying curious, staying engaged, and giving yourself the grace to grow. Now, there's one final tip that brings everything together, and it has nothing to do with memory tricks or clever wordplay. It's something a lot of people overlook, but it has a huge impact on how well your brain functions, especially when it comes to recall.
Hydration. Yes, water. Plain and simple. but absolutely vital.
You see, when your body is even just a little dehydrated, your brain is one of the first parts to suffer.
You might feel foggy, sluggish, or forgetful, and suddenly, trying to remember someone's name feels like climbing a hill in the middle of a heat wave. Most people don't realize how common mild dehydration is, especially as we get older. The sense of thirst weakens with age, so by the time you feel thirsty, you're often already running low.
And when your brain doesn't have enough fluid to function at full capacity, name recall is one of the first things to go. So, here's
a simple but powerful fix. Keep a glass of water nearby during the day, especially before and after social events.
If you're heading to lunch with friends or visiting family, take a few sips before you go. When your brain is hydrated, it's sharper, more alert, and better at storing and retrieving those little details like names, faces, and the stories behind them. Some folks also find that adding a splash of lemon or a few cucumber slices makes
water more enjoyable to sip throughout the day. Whatever helps you stay consistent, that's what matters. You're not just doing it for your body. You're giving your brain a clearer path to do its job. Now, as we begin wrapping up, let's bring everything we've talked about together into something simple and empowering. Forgetting names doesn't mean you're losing your memory. It means you're human.
And it means your brain might just need a bit more support, attention, and kindness. Think of all the little tools you now have. You've learned how creating visual links can give a name more hooks to grab onto.
How gentle repetition turns a fleeting moment into something solid.
How staying present, taking a breath, and really seeing someone can make all the difference.
And how something as basic as water can literally power up your memory from the inside out. None of this requires you to become a memory champion or walk around with flashcards. It's about small changes, easy shifts that fit into the life you're
already living. Whether you're chatting with someone at the grocery store or catching up with an old friend, you now have ways to stay more connected, more confident, and more in control. And that, truly, is what matters most.
Feeling like yourself, feeling capable.
Being able to look someone in the eye and call them by name because you remembered. That's not just memory. That's connection. That's presence.
That's you, living fully in the moment. Let's be honest, there are enough things in life that try to chip away at our confidence as we age. But this doesn't have to be one of them. In fact, it can be a place where you gain confidence, where you feel proud, where you show yourself and others that you're still growing, still learning, still showing up with heart. And if you ever do forget a name, give yourself grace.
Smile and say, "Remind me again."
Because most people aren't judging you. They're just glad you care enough to ask. And the beautiful thing is, the more you practice these simple habits, the more those names will start to stick.
You'll surprise yourself in the best way. So, as you go about your day, whether you're chatting with your grandchildren, calling an old friend, or just making small talk with someone new, try one of these strategies. Pick one and have fun with it.
Turn it into a little game. Notice what works best for you, and keep at it. If this video gave you even one helpful tip, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. Maybe you've got a clever trick of your own for remembering names, please share it. We're all
learning together here, and your story might be just what someone else needs to hear. And if you'd like more videos like this, practical, encouraging, and made especially for people like you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe
to the channel. We've got so much more to explore together, and I can't wait to keep the conversation going. You've made it to the end of this video, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for showing up for yourself. Thank you for being curious, open,
and willing to try something new.
It's never too late to strengthen your memory, reconnect with others, and feel more empowered in your daily life. Here's to you remembering names with ease, laughing a little more, and walking through your days with confidence. You've got this.
And as always, here's to living your best life at any age.